Hey everyone, and welcome back to From Our Home Oven. Today we're making simple homemade waffles with whipped cream, strawberries, and strawberry syrup. It's a quick and easy recipe and perfect for a family brunch. So let's get started. First, I'm making the whipped cream. The bowl is chilled and the whipped cream is cold as well. That always helps. I also like to make the whipped cream first because it's practical. The bowl is still clean and the whisk is clean, and afterward I can use the same bowl again for the waffle batter. For the whipped cream I'm using 200 grams, which is perfect for 4 people. And I also adding a little bit vanilla pudding powder. This gives the whipped cream a light vanilla flavor and it helps stabilize it a little, so it holds its shape better for piping later. Now I will whip it, and before we get into that, I'm gonna scale the 200 grams. So I'm gonna have a 200 grams perfectly. And for the 200 grams, I use basically 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla pudding powder. But I'm gonna put this in a little bit later when the whipped cream is a little bit more firm. So let's get this whipped. I basically whip the cream until it starts to thicken just a little bit. Then I add sugar slowly, followed by the vanilla extract and finally the vanilla pudding powder. This helps everything blend in nicely and gives the whipped cream a smooth texture. I'm going to use 3 tablespoons of sugar for the 200. So I always use 1.5 tablespoons for 100 grams. So 200 makes then 3. And just a pinch of vanilla extractor and gives a little bit of better flavor. And the last we're going to put in 1.5 teaspoons of the vanilla pudding. So the whipping cream is ready now, and I'm transferring into this glass bowl and putting that into the fridge. That way it basically stays nice and cold while I prepare the waffle batter, and later it will be ready for piping on top. Okay, so what I have here is basically my 125 grams of butter, which I melted first, and then I put in 500 grams of milk into the melted butter. This goes basically first into the bowl now. So this is slightly warm. We want to make sure that the milk is warm as well, so that nothing curdles, right? So this is nice. The next step, we basically adding the sugar to it. So we add 45 grams of sugar. Now after that, we basically going to add the vanilla extract, which is about 10 grams. Okay, so we got that in there, and then we adding the 2 eggs. Now we're mixing this well, and after we mixed it, then we adding the flour and 1 tablespoon of baking powder. So I always use this, put it there so if something drips down, it's no mess. What we're adding now is the flour. So we're adding 270 grams of flour. So now we have the 270 grams of flour. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of baking powder. I always put that in a little bit, I pour a little bit a hole in there to put this in there, and then I'm pre-mixing it lightly with the flour. And what we obviously can't forget is the salt. We're going to add 3/4 of a tablespoon of salt. So that's that. And now we have all the ingredients in there. We're mixing this not very much, just a little bit. And then later on, after this is mixed, we do a small test to make sure that the butter is good with the consistency, that it's not too fluid or that it's not too thick. Okay, that's enough. And again here, I'm just going to put this underneath so everything stays nice and clean. It only drops onto my plate, which is easy to clean. Here we go. And just to show you what it looks like, so you can see it flows nicely. That's the key. You want to have a butter which flows nicely. And we have our waffle iron. We pour it in from the top, and you can actually see how the batter rises up to the top. And we have a measuring cup where we pour this in, but now this looks perfect. This is nice. So as you can see, what I'm using here is just a cup which came with the waffle iron. And the nice part is we can fill in the waffle iron from the top, and it keeps everything nice and clean. When the light goes green, that's when the waffle is going to be done. I also scale it, so I use 194 grams just to confirm that it fills up nicely to the top. And yeah, it's a nice setup. And as I said, I love the ones which you fill up from the top, because if it's a little bit too much, it's not a problem at all. As you can see, I'm going to take this out now. And this is the perfect waffle. I use a wooden piece here, and I'm just going to transfer it to the plate. There's a slight piece here, but you see how easy everything comes off. It's beautiful. So close that in, and now we're basically pouring in a new one. And as you can see, I move slightly from one side to the other side. Perfect. While this is basically making another waffle, and you can see the butter inside, that it will rise slightly to the top slowly, right? We're putting this waffle with the other one into the oven to keep it nice and warm, so that everybody gets a nice warm waffle. And we're putting the waffle on the rack. So the temperature inside the oven, I just put it on warm, and it's around 160 Fahrenheit. So while this is cooking, or baking, I'm gonna fill in another one. And you see how nicely the consistency is of the batter. It runs very smoothly. It's perfect. I love the sound of it. Nice and fluffy. Next one. I'm not as good at it with my left hand as I would be with my right hand, but it still works. And we have one more to go. As you can see, it's a perfect amount for the waffles, exactly. You can make 5 waffles with this. That's perfect. So this is going to be the perfect waffle, and I just love that sound. Okay, now we're getting ready for the piping. What we're doing is we put basically the piping utensils on a glass. I also put that in the fridge first to cool it nice, everything down. Now we put the whipped cream in there. And as you could hear, my last waffle is ready. So that's good. Then we basically lift it out and put it upside down, shake it down a little bit. And the key is to basically twist it a little bit so that it's close on the end. Now you can see how nicely the whipped cream comes out. So one thing at a time. Now we're doing the final assembly of the waffle. What we're doing is we're putting a little bit powder sugar on there, as you can see, just a light dust, like so. And now we're taking our whipped cream and do the piping for that. Voila. Now we're adding some strawberries. And the final touch will be a little bit syrup, which we want to put on the top. That's it. Now there is your strawberry waffle for a nice brunch with family.